GM, y'all. I'm JP and Joji. We are Intuition, or core contributors at Intuition. Happy to be here today presenting and sharing why we love Remix and how Remix and Vite are amazing for Web3 development. So we're going to jump right into it because we're excited to share a lot of this today. So, breaking, Dev's Remix front end. What we did may surprise you. Why? Why are we doing this? Well, we've loved this stack and we've tested it and we believe in it, and we want to provide devs with another tool that they can use to really leverage incredible benefits for DX and UX in Web3. And we believe that sharing knowledge really grows our ecosystem. So we're doing that today. We've battle tested this by building on top of it for several years, really, but more specifically for the last several months. Remix and Vite, we're pioneering it in Web3 and sharing it and open sourcing it with the community. So top level, why are we doing this? Well, this stack really resolves a lot of pain points for UX and DX in Web3. For UX, the biggest thing is that Remix allows for a lot of declarative data loading. So biggest thing with that is we're allowed to, we can do contract reads, API calls, things like that on the server, and then you know that you have the data when you need it. This is a huge UX boost for users in Web3. Also, we're able to leverage progressive enhancement from Remix. So that is a great piece that allows for performance, resilience, and accessibility for onboarding users with all sorts of different backgrounds and connectivity. The other piece is the DX, the developer experience. The declarative data strategy lets us know when we have it, which lets us not worry about when our hooks are firing. We know the data is there. We can act like we know it's there. Fewer loader states and spinners, right? So the piece that I'm most excited about with this is the hot module reloading that comes with Vite. So what this means is anybody who's talked to me for more than a minute about front-end knows how much I love HMR, and we're going to demo that, and you'll see how blazingly fast it is. Once you use this, you can't go back. It changes you. All right. So what is Remix? Anybody who hasn't used this framework for web development yet is in for a surprise with it. Lets us focus on web standards, such as using the Fetch API, and also it allows for data loading on the server and browser in parallel to really allow for excellent experiences. It's a full stack framework letting you focus on the UX and user interfaces and really delivering a fast, slick, and resilient user experience in UI. So we're excited to present what we call our Neurofunk stack. And you can see here, it's React at the core. And what this is meant to be is a batteries included framework that enables devs to be fully productive and focus on like what matters, which is building apps and solving problems. So at the core, this is informed by our learnings from building with Remix and Vite. And we have meta choices here. So we start at the top, React at the core. We got Remix and Vite, which is really what we're most excited about. And we handled all the configuration for this so you use it right out of the box. Now, in the Web 2 stack here, we are also leveraging Tailwind and Radix UI. And these have become rapidly adopted in the space in both Web 2 and Web 3. And the meta choice right now is Shad CN, Shad UI. And Shad is leveraging both of those technologies, so we are too, really allowing for interoperability and maximizing impact in the ecosystem. Now, when we dig in a little bit deeper into the Web 3 part of this, at the core, we got our interactions with VM and WAGMI. And then behind the scenes for our auth, we use sign in with Ethereum, did session, and Rainbow Kit. And we've handled all of the configuration with this for everybody out of the box. So you can pull this stack down, start using it, and be productive immediately. All right, so why Remix and Vite? This is the core of what we were trying to do. And it's a big balance of UX and DX for everybody. The for all piece is huge here because a lot of times when you're really trying to maximize for developer experience, sometimes can come at the cost of user experience and vice versa, right? But with this, we're really able to have modern DX without sacrificing that user experience, right? So the way that this is expressed is we have 10 times faster HMR, 5 times faster HDR with hot data replacement, which we're going to demo. And then at the core here, this enables devs to focus on what truly matters. We want to reduce the time that people spend having to wrangle configuration, right? I've used Vite for a couple of years in Web 3. I've spent hours and hours trying to do some of the configuration, so we are saving that for people here. It's letting you jump right in and get productive. We've all been at hackathons where you have an awesome idea, right? But then you might be trying to configure your auth or just something with React and Web3, and then you end up spending half of your time on that, and you don't have time to actually build what you wanted to build, right? So we dog-fooded this to meet our needs at Intuition, and then we wanted to open source it for our hackers here who are building on top of our bounties. And we decided if we're doing that, we want to roll it out to the larger community in general. So the next piece with this is it is flexible. You are able to take our starters that we're providing, use what you want. You can use our auth, split it out if you want to, remove sign in with Ethereum, whatever. It's fully customizable. You can also just use what you want from what we are providing, allowing for total customization. You can use it as it is, jump right in, or an incremental adoption for it. Now, the next piece here is Vite is an excellent client-side experience right in itself. And you can totally start building with it as it is, and then incrementally adopt Remix through the routing that we are providing. This allows for, if you need SSR as you've developed your app, it's there for you, and you can use it. Now, the other piece that we love here is granular control with no black boxes at all. So there's no need to really worry here about things like use client and use server. We've all experienced that if you've used certain frameworks, right? So with this, you're able to build like you would any other React app, and then really just sprinkle in the data loading strategies as you need it. All right, so the other piece that we really, really are passionate about here is there's no vendor lock-in. So with this framework, it's portable. It allows for more alignment with decentralization and decentralized ethos because this can be hosted and ported anywhere. If you need to move it around, something happens to your host, you can bundle it and move it again. There's no vendor lock-in with this stack. And if we're all building on services that are specifically tied to certain vendors, well, then we're not really fully decentralized. And we believe very much in full decentralization because that's a key part of what we're doing for resiliency. So we're not going to spend too much time on this, but if you want to hear like a 45-minute rant about why we believe in no vendor lock-in, come to our booth. Come to our booth at the end. We'll talk to you about it and really rant for a long time about that piece. So, all right, now, we want to show some examples here because this is what we're most excited about, right? And this is what I'm saying. I am a huge, huge fan of this piece. This is an example. It's a little harder to see here, but this is the HMR in action. So on the right side here, we're showing that you can edit values such as the CSS, the Tailwind classes, the data, and you see it immediately on save reflected on the left. And the part at the top here that is the wildest piece is there's a loader that's loading data from the server. You can change that, and it still gets that instant HMR. This is pretty mind-blowing, and honestly, like once you experience this, it's really, really hard to go back. And I'm gonna keep going. I can go on about this forever, but we move on. This is another piece that's mind-blowing. This is a pattern we've established using Remix for contract reads on the server. So here, we have, I know it's looping here, but we have on a Remix server a whole multi-call where we're reading configuration from our contract and then passing it into the route. And then the bottom that's being edited here, those are, it just shows the HMR loading. But the actual values that we're changing them on the fly. And this is hot module reloading and revalidating data from the server in real time, instantly. Once you start experiencing that, it's hard to not have it. And we'll post this so people can see it. Now we have some demos here. These two apps that we're showing, these are demos that are built directly on our starter. This one right here is an on-chain interaction with server revalidation of the data. So you can see it's a minting of an NFT going through and minting here. And I love this one, so we can start it from, we'll just talk through it. Clicking on the mint, we have live state, can see what's going on, going and confirming, it's off screen here, but we're confirming, starting the transaction, and then what is happening is it'll immediately revalidate and pass the NFT metadata right back without a refresh. And that is pretty awesome if you think about it. That's an example of excellent DX for devs and user experience because they get that fast feedback that we all want. Right. This is another example. So this is how our user experience is really shining through using Remix, right? So this is an API key portal that we built to onboard devs that are participating in our hackathons while here or beyond, right? So what we're doing here is users are signing. They're signing with their wallet, and then they're getting an API key that is immediately shown to them. So they get that instant feedback from our API. So here, starting from the beginning, going to the page, which is our portal here for API keys, connecting the wallet, and then once you sign, so we have our did session auth with SciWe, sign, get that, you can copy it, and then if you rotate the key, the user immediately gets that validation from our server coming back through. This is a pretty amazing process that we've used to onboard people in 30 seconds to our API key and developer portal. Right, so with this said, this is amazing and we love Remix. There's a lot of considerations though. Now, one of them is that Remix has some considerations for complex client-side loading. So a lot of Remix is coming through, the data's coming through from the route, and if you're building something like a dashboard, sometimes it's a little bit tricky because you have multiple sources of data coming through, but there's some things on the Remix roadmap that are pretty excellent. There's use client loader data, which is going to really be enhancing this experience for building complex dashboards with multiple data coming in while still getting the excellent experiences of Remix's revalidation. So it's on the roadmap. We're adopting things as they come through. And as we share our learnings, we test them and we roll them out and update our starters. So another piece that's a consideration is the composability on client side. And the way that this is most commonly expressed as we've found it is since Remix is so powerful and route-based, sometimes modals are a little bit tricky. But the thing is with this is there's updates that are coming through that can really help with this, such as the use loader data, or use client loader data, like we just mentioned. But also, there's new strategies coming through from the team. As React 19 is coming out, the Remix team is on top of it, and they are really testing it, and they're looking at the changes that are coming through from like React server components, and then also just really seeing and testing how the optimizing of memoization from those changes is going to impact the data loading strategies. And this ultimately, like what attracts us a lot to Remix is the team is super high trust and high visibility, right? So they publish RFDs, they publish all of their changes, and have a very thorough testing process. So for example, Vite was technically unstable for several months, but we were able to adopt it, test it out, figure out all the kinks with it, roll it into our starters, and now it's stable, and it's officially adopted by both Remix and Vite. So we were at the head of the curve on that, tested it, and are sharing our learnings with everybody. Now the other piece with this is the team is very visible. They build in public on everything that they do. RFD process is visible in their GitHub repo. They build in public on their YouTube channels, and I think that that's a very aligned ethos for what we are trying to do in Web3. So it's like a match, it's a good match. And as those things are rolled out, we are testing them and sharing our learnings. All right, so what's next with this? We have a QR code here that if you can scan it and hit it, it goes right to our Remix and Vite starter on GitHub. Now, this is our main driver at this point for our templates. We have an original Remix one that we did, but then this one includes all of our changes that we did to get Vite up and running. And anybody who's built with Vite, like I said, it's an excellent tool, but there's a lot of configuration that you got to go through sometimes. We've handled all of that, and you can do quick QR code, clone our starter, build exactly on top of it, and if you want, just like I said before, pick and choose what works. Really, at the end of the day, we want to empower builders and provide a tool that is an alternate tool that you're maybe not aware of, but really solves problems, provides excellent user experience in DX. So definitely suggest hitting it up. Also, if you're hacking here at ETHDenver, we, Intuition, have several bounties for you to check out, and we welcome you to actually use our starter to build, if you're hacking on our bounties, just use it as a starting point. Or if you're not even working on our bounties and you're working in Web3, give this a shot. Even if you're just doing client-side work, use our Vite tooling to really enable that excellent HMR experience, and then layer it in as you adopt Remix and learn it. The other piece with this is we're going to be at booth 506 from Wednesday to Sunday this week. So check us out, come talk to us. Like I said, you can talk to me, any of us about Vite or Remix. We're happy to talk for hours about these pieces and these tools. So the other piece that I want to point out here, we have a community Discord. Want all of you to come and join it. Talk to us about what we are doing, what you are building, what we are building. Really want everybody to work on this together with us. We love building on this stack, and we're very passionate about it, and we want you to be as well. So when I started using this, I don't really want to use anything else unless I need to, or the product requirements necessitate it. But this is now my go-to stack. Like all those videos that we showed, we built directly on top of this. Our intuition, our product is built on top of this stack. So we're dogfooding it. We're very motivated to share our learnings, and we welcome feedback too. So any of us here, you can spot us with the core patches. We have I am core. We'd love to talk and hear what you're building. Yeah, we got a crew represented here, and we'd love for you to come and talk to us. And also, if you're here and you're now at the end of the presentation, find some of us because we have a surprise for you. And you hit us up, and we're going to hand some things out. Check us out, and happy hacking. Build, share, and follow your intuition.